I'm Kialis, and last month at my brother's wedding, I watched something I'll never forget. My 82-year-old grandfather flew 6 hours across the country just to see Jason walk down the aisle. But when he arrived, do you know where they sat him? Behind the trash bins, near the kitchen vents, like he was nothing. I turned to my mother and asked why. She leaned in, lips sharp, and said, "That old man will embarrass us." When I defended him, her palm cracked across my face, in front of everyone. Then she hissed, "You don't belong here," and had me thrown out. 20 minutes later, I heard the low hum of engines, the kind you don't hear unless someone is arriving in a private jet. And when the man stepping out removed his sunglasses, jaws dropped. Want to guess who actually owned that vineyard? Comment below. I read every single one. I showed up in a second-hand forest green dress, the only thing that still felt like me. Napa sun burned bright as guests floated past in silk and diamonds, champagne glasses flashing like gold. No one offered me one. My reflection in the glass door stopped me, wind-tossed hair, freckles bare. I looked like someone who'd crashed the party, and then came my mother. Her eyes swept me head to toe. "Decent," she said. No hug. No, "Thanks for flying from Boston." Then she turned away to greet someone richer. Jason didn't even glance my way, too busy laughing near the olive trees, arm wrapped around his bride, a lace vision who barely remembered my name. Then a town car rolled up. Out stepped Grandpa Joseph, 82, in a blue suit and crooked tie. His eyes lit when he saw me. "Keyless," he rasped. "You're the only one worth flying for." I hugged him hard, heart twisting. I offered to help him find his seat. The staffer led us past every glittering table, then stopped. One plastic chair, wedged between two trash bins, humming heat vents at his back. I turned to my mother. "Why is Grandpa sitting there?" Her smile didn't falter. He insisted on coming. I told him he wouldn't enjoy himself, but beggars can't be choosers. "He's not a beggar," I snapped. She leaned close, voice sharp as glass. "That old man will embarrass us. The way he talks, the way he eats, the way he smells." My fists curled so tight my nails cut skin. This wasn't a mistake, it was a message. I told myself to breathe, to swallow the anger clawing at my throat. This was Jason's day. No scenes, no drama. I guided Grandpa to that awful chair and forced a smile like it didn't burn. He sat quietly, like nothing was wrong. But I saw it, the way guests glanced at him, then away, as if shame were catching. I fixed his tie, kissed his cheek. "You good here?" He patted my hand. "I've sat through worse for people I love." Inside, the laughter hit louder, sharp against the string quartet. I slid into a chair near the edge, next to the valet's son. Yes, really. My mother made sure of that. My phone buzzed. Her text glared at me. "Don't embarrass us. Remember who paid your tuition." My throat clenched. She hadn't paid a dime. Grandpa had. Every check, every book allowance. But here she was, claiming credit like a crown. I stared across the patio. Jason toasted under golden lights, arms snug around his bride. My mother drifted from guest to guest, dripping charm like honey over glass. From a distance, we looked perfect. Inside, it was rot. I pressed my palms into my knees, willing myself still. Eat, smile, survive. Then leave. That was the plan, until the moment came that shattered it all. The rehearsal dinner started with golden lights spilling over the patio, the quartet playing something soft and perfect. I sat frozen in my chair, next to a stranger polishing his valet tag, my throat aching with every clink of crystal. And then I saw Grandpa again, alone by those trash bins. No one talked to him. Not Jason, not my father, not even the bride whose dream wedding he'd probably helped fund years ago without ever asking for credit. Something in me snapped. I rose slowly, my chair scraping the stone. Walked to the small platform near the welcome arch. My heels clicked louder than the music. I lifted a glass and tapped it gently with a fork. Ting, ting. Conversations died. Faces turned. "Excuse me," I said, voice trembling but steadying as it left my throat. "I just have one question." I swallowed hard. Why is my grandfather, who flew 6 hours to be here, sitting behind the trash bins while strangers enjoy the family table? A silence spread like spilled wine. Heavy. Thick. My mother's heels struck the floor like gunshots as she stormed toward me. Her hand shot up so fast I barely saw it before the sting exploded across my cheek. Gasps ripped through the crowd. Cameras froze midair. "You ungrateful thing," she hissed, breath hot with fury. "You don't belong here." Then to a staffer. "Escort her out." No one stopped her. Not Jason, who stared at his shoes. Not my father, who adjusted his cufflinks like nothing had happened. The heat of shame crawled down my spine as I stumbled back, heels catching in the gravel, dress dragging dust. Grandpa stood slowly, his face unreadable. And as I reached the edge of the patio, he met me halfway. He didn't speak. He just pressed something into my palm. A green silk handkerchief, frayed at the edges, initials stitched in silver. KH. I curled my fingers around it like a lifeline, walked past the gate they'd shoved me through, and kept walking until the music faded behind me. My chest was hollow. My cheeks burned. But in my hand, that cloth felt like more than fabric. It felt like a promise. One I didn't understand yet. I sat on the low stone wall under an olive tree, clutching the silk handkerchief like it could hold me together. The music from the patio drifted faintly. Strings, laughter, the clinking of toasts I would never join. My mother's words still sliced through me. "You don't belong here." Then I heard it. A sound that didn't belong either. Not tires, not gravel crunching under sedans. Something deeper. A low purr, smooth and commanding. I turned. A black Rolls-Royce glided down the side path, sunlight flashing off its polished hood. Behind it, 2 SUVs rolled in like a silent procession. The driver opened the rear door with a crisp motion. And there he was. Grandpa. No, not the bent old man in a faded suit. This man stood tall, shoulders squared, sunglasses glinting like mirrors. 2 men in dark suits flanked him, scanning the grounds with quiet authority. He reached me, tugged off his glasses, and smiled faintly. "Well, sweetheart," he said, voice clear as a bell. "Ready to shake things up?" My breath caught. "What's going on? Let's remind them who they're dealing with." He offered his arm. I took it. We walked back toward the patio, the same gate where I'd been shoved out now held wide open. The staff didn't question. One even bowed his head slightly as Grandpa passed. Inside, voices hushed, glasses stilled. My mother's laughter died mid-sentence when she saw him. He strode to the center of the reception like a storm dressed in navy wool. Guests turned, eyes wide. Jason froze with his champagne midair. My father went pale. Grandpa took the mic from my mother's trembling hand, his own steady as stone. "I wasn't going to speak," he began calmly. "Didn't want to cause a fuss on a day meant for joy." He scanned the crowd, voice gaining steel. But sitting by the trash bins gave me time to think. A ripple of uneasy laughter. He didn't smile. "This vineyard, these acres you all brag about, it wasn't built on borrowed money or luck. It was built with these hands." He raised them, gnarled but strong. "And it doesn't belong to Jason, or Richard, or anyone who would dare humiliate its roots." A murmur ran through the room. My mother's grip whitened on the back of a chair. "I own this land," Grandpa said, voice ringing like a gavel. Then he turned, and his words sliced through the hush. "And I built this empire for her." His finger pointed straight at me. "Not you." Gasps cracked like fireworks. Forks clattered against plates. I stood at the edge, breath trembling, the silk handkerchief burning in my palm like proof. The silence after his words was heavy enough to bend steel. My mother blinked like she'd just seen a ghost. Jason's jaw hung slack, the champagne flute trembling in his hand. Grandpa reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope thick with legal seals. I updated the trust months ago, he said evenly. Kalis holds full authority over this vineyard, effective immediately. You could hear the air leave the room. My father tried to speak. Failed. Jason stormed out, face crimson. My mother whispered something like a curse before following him. No one stopped them. I walked forward, heels steady on the stone, and took the envelope from Grandpa's hand. For the first time that day, my voice didn't shake. You told me I didn't belong, I said softly, letting the words carry. But I was never embarrassed. You were. Gasps, then silence. Not hostile, just truth. Later, as the crowd thinned and dusk spilled gold over the vines, I stood at the edge of the garden. The same vines they tried to rip from my hands now brushed against my fingertips like old friends. This land wasn't mine out of revenge. It was mine because I remembered how to love it back. So tell me, if it were you, standing there with everyone who doubted you watching, what would you have done? Comment below. I read every single one.